We will have a little bit of moving in between the different servers here. We're going to make use of both the Tomcat and the Wildfly installation. So when you have done some things on Wildfly earlier, we will need to do this on Tomcat, and then we're going to move the configuration over to Wildfly. When you have Tomcat running, sign in with, of course, your credentials. The only ones that we have. This is administrative credentials. Then we'll open the control panel, configuration, and system settings. These are the system settings for our OSGI settings. And in here in the content section, you will find document and media service. It's this one. Now, when I open the document and media settings, there's quite a lot of them. And in there, we can have, or we can configure some Mime types. As you can see here, the code file Mime types, and there are quite a lot of them. And presentation file and spread file and so on. So in order to identify what kind of Mime types we can download and what Liferay should cover as code, we will click plus here, and that adds a second entry here. And the exercise says make it not test but text LaTeX. Okay, and when I save this, which is down this page, I will have configured these settings so that I can now download the LaTeX type as a code file. Well, there's not much to see here, but it was a setting that wasn't there before. You can check this before you configure it. And now what do we do with it? Well, we can configure this in every single system that we touch, in our production, in our pre-production, in all of our development systems, in, well, everything that we touch. Or we can just export it from here, which means we are getting some file that I can save and download. Actually, just so that you see it, I will export it again and just open with my text editor. This saves me from opening it again. And here you see what we have configured, and in there you will also find the text LaTeX that I have just entered. So you see this is an actual editable file, just so that you know what's in there. Okay. Now the exercise continuing in there tells us that we can find this configuration, and for that we'll go back to our home directory, find the downloads folder, and indeed this is the file that I have just downloaded. Now the exercise asks to copy it and to paste it into the DevOps Liferay folder, and that has a volumes Liferay Wildfly OSGI configs. Let me go back there, DevOps Wildfly volumes. I'll just open it here, Liferay Wildfly open OSGI and configs. This is an empty folder, and now this volume Liferay Wildfly OSGI configs is the target, and this is where we paste this one file, and we now have the same file in here to make it same one, and you can fully read the file name. The file name is actually important, so you can't just come up with arbitrary file names, but it needs to be exactly this. Now it's in a volume that is being read by Wildfly, and when we now start our Wildfly server, let me just do that, and I'll just start a second server here. The server starts, and as soon as it is started, we can actually navigate to that home page. And validate that the configuration that we have just done in our Tomcat installation has made it over to the Wildfly installation. This is one of the prime ways to actually move configurations in between the systems. If you are working on the system settings, this is exactly the way to go. And now that Wildfly is running, we can just sign in here and then check if the configuration that we deployed through the OSGI configuration file ended up in this repository here as well. So we're going to Control Panel, Configuration, System Settings, and then we're going to check the Documents and Media Libraries settings for the existence of our LaTeX configuration. Documents and Media, and in here we have configured the code file Mime Types, and look at this, we have the text LaTeX configuration in here, and that's just by virtue of distributing the OSGI config file. And if there is more that you need to configure, I have shown you the content of this file. This is actually editable, and more important than that, this is easy to put under version control, so you can easily use this in your configuration management system and properly document, machine readable, that this is the way you configure your servers. Congratulations, you have now successfully moved one of the configurations from our Tomcat server to the Wildfly server, and other than sharing this configuration, they don't have anything to do with each other. The exercises continue with an exercise on document types, where you can create yet another document type. And in my eyes, this is something that is solidly on the content side. So yes, we have metadata for our documents, and the documents can have additional data that we don't really store in the database, but we do if you need them extra. I consider this to be content focused, so it's not really a DevOps person's job, which means I'll leave the exercise to you to do it if you want to. It's very clearly laid out, but I have decided I won't demonstrate this exercise here in this video.